Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Carlos with Twins Reef, and to be honest, I wasn't so sure if I was gonna make this video, and sadly, guys, I think this is it for my attempt on having a planted aquarium. As you guys can see, it's a total disaster. Algae just beat me in this battle. I invested not only money but time and effort on trying to have a successful tank, and I honestly didn't know where I went wrong. I thought I did everything right, everything I could learn. This time was different than all the other times before when I tried to attempt doing a dry start method, which I really enjoyed. I really like the fact how that Monte Carlo had that carpet effect. I would have never thought that was going to work for me. And then you guys noticed in my last video on that previous tank, when we were talking about the 30 long, for those that are new, once I filled it up with water, we had a algae bloom, and then we had diatoms as well, having a hard issue to the point that made me to shut down that 30 long inverted marine tank. And then we tried it too on the drop-off Peninsula tank made by Inverted Marine, and we didn't go with the dry start method at that point because we had learned that to keep such a tank, we were gonna go with RODI water, and that's what I decided to do. This time around, I went with RODI water, and it worked for a bit, but I was still having algae bloom issues. That's when I went to my local pet store and I talked to one of the guys that works there. He's a great aquascaper. His planted aquariums are just amazing. You can find them, I think, at Exotic Tanks or something like that on Instagram. But I spoke with him for a while and I told him what's going on, and he recommended a couple products like Seachem XL to try to get rid of that algae. It is a carbon liquid or CO2 liquid, but if you overdose, it kills the algae. Then I told him, how about dosing? He recommended a product, and I went along with that product to try to dose. And it was just really hard because I tried the tank to get balance. I had watched so many videos, read forums online, and I don't know where I went wrong, guys. I then transferred from that drop-off tank. I think I ended up giving up on that tank for the algae issues, but then I told my wife, you know what? After I watched that one video says, hey, you're gonna counter it. You just have to let your tank balance it out. And I was like, you know what, let me set up the Red Sea Reefer 170. That's something I wanted to do when I had the Red Sea inside the house. And at the end, guys, I went along, set it up in the garage. I went with 40 pounds of Seachem, of Fluvostratum, and I used my old hardscape, like the Dragonstones, the driftwood. Of course, I did soak it, I cleaned it. Trying to make sure we don't get nothing on the tank that's not supposed to be there. And then I used RODI water, a bunch of RODI water for a planted aquarium. And then another product that I was using was it's another one from Seachem. I can't remember from the top of my head, but basically it restores all the minerals that your plants need that are lost when you use RODI or RO water. And again, guys, I had an algae bloom when we set this Red Sea tank, so I decided to turn off the lights. And at first I noticed that there was a little bit of a diatom issue, or not diatom, what's that word I'm looking for? Cyanobacteria. So previously to 30 long, it was cyanobacteria. So I went ahead and went with ChemiClean, the saltwater version, which it worked for me always, and it did work. So after a week of having the lights off and overdosing with ChemiClean, or I'm not so sure if I did with ChemiClean, the algae came back, and that's when, hey, I'm gonna use, that's when I spoke to the person and I was like, hey, I'm gonna use a Seachem XL, and it worked for a bit, but I was like, I can't be doing this all the time because that's just gonna be a waste of money. Keep buying these $5 to $15 bottles of Seachem XL just to get rid of that algae. I had a lot of plants, and that algae just overtook them. It suffocated them, it killed them. There's still plants in the tank, guys, but they're just covered with algae. As you guys saw in the beginning of the video, how the tank was covered with algae. The 3 sides of the tank filled with algae. Then it looks like there's like a tornado of hair algae, and oh man, it's horrible. I even had already bought what is this called, moss, Java moss, because I was gonna make a cool effect on the driftwood, and I was just having so much issues with algae. And then I paid attention to my Java moss that it was dying, so I was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna just risk it, put it in the tank, and to my luck, guys, algae came back, suffocated that Java moss. And the only plant that I noticed that didn't get no algae, and I'm so surprised, is the lily bulb plant. As you guys can see, hey, the reason, it's probably because it's a strong plant. Its immune system, I don't know how this works, but it's just a healthy plant that flourishes, and it didn't allow no algae to grow on it. Besides that, like the red bands, what other plants do I have? The wisteria, the weedias, the Monte Carlo, the Java moss, all those plants got overtook by this algae that I have. Not only that, guys, but I kind of regret getting my discus. I mean, I love discus, I love their pattern, I love their color, but they are just such skittish fish. You can't really be in front of your tank because the fish are gonna act up, hurt themselves, and they always tend to turn dark. Like when they're in the background, you have a black background, they turn black. And I've had so much experience with discus before, and I know that when you have them in a darker place, they tend to get what is it called, those peppermint, skittish? Not skittish, they get I think it's peppermint, that's what it's considered, those black spots on them. So that's what I got. And so I kind of regret getting them. Then I also wanted to get angelfish, but I was like, I love angelfish and I know their character, they have strong character, but it was to the point, it was in the end point of me deciding, am I gonna keep this tank or not? So I just didn't get the angelfish because I had a feeling in me that I wasn't gonna have a Planet Aquarium much longer. And then just before or after buying the discus, I went ahead and bought some neon tetras. That way they could encourage the discus to go out. Neon tetras are one of my favorite fish as well. Same thing as the rummy nose, cardinos, tetras. There are beautiful tetras. And the only discus I noticed that actually was okay was the checkerboard pigeon blood. But besides that, the turquoise and skinhead, not skin, I'm sorry, snake skin discus. That's so funny. The snake skin discus were the most skittish ones from them all. And then, as you guys saw, I have also fancy guppies. I try to breed not only fancy guppies but I wanted to mix them with antler guppies, and I didn't have no luck, or I did, but you know, they're still in there. They just don't have any colors, but to the point that I'm like, hey, for this large of a tank, I'm not really a guppy fan, so I just let them be there because I knew I wasn't gonna keep this tank. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, guys, but it came to the point of me just making this video and tell you guys, most likely this will be the last video of the Planet tank unless I change my mind, unless something happens. And look at that hair algae, how much it has grown. I mean, it looks pretty cool, but it's just so much, like what the heck's going on? Is there's a lot of nutrients? I thought that it was gonna be the lighting, but I brought down the lighting and I still got issues. Then I thought it was gonna be the tap water. I went with RODI and I still got issues. And now what I'm thinking that is the issue is that fluvostratum. I've read other forums regarding fluvostratum, and I saw some articles, some people posting how they noticed the high ammonia on the fluvostratum, and that it took about a year for that ammonia to go away, and it probably has a bunch of things that causes algae issues. So it could be that, but just why an expensive product can cause a disaster like this. I don't understand it. I've had Planet tanks before. I used to have a Dirty Planet aquarium, and guys, I never had no issues with it, never had no algae problems. My plants were flourishing. So, and I had a good light. I had stronger light, and I mean, at that point, I think I had Beamworks, but regardless, it was a strong light that grew plants. So I wouldn't compare it with the AI Prime on density. I think it was even more brighter than this AI Primes that I have, especially with my settings. So I think it's the substrate. I would love to give it another try with the Dirty Planet tank, but only time will tell. The tank, guys, it's at the moment it's in the garage. I tried to call my local pet stores to see if they'll take in all my fish. They said they didn't have no more room for them. I then tried the other two stores because I just didn't want to. And this is how the tank's looking now after I cleaned it, and after a couple days. The algae's still there. The discus are here. So I don't know what to do, guys. I mean, it kind of looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool, but it's just a disaster. I don't know what to do. I don't want to give up because I invested so much money and time, but if I have to, I will, because I'm not going to be using RODI water on this thing anymore, wasting water for something like this. I'll probably just let it be. I would love to do a Dirty Planet tank, but I'm not so sure if I'll do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this tank. It might be the last video, it might not be. I'll keep you guys updated, guys. I hope you guys like this video. I know I haven't been doing a lot of content, and that's because I've been heck busy with work, but I'm hoping to start uploading more videos. And I thank you guys for watching, guys. I'll be having a lot of content coming up pretty soon. As you guys can see, there's blue lights behind me. That means something. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I am out. Peace.